Hello and welcome. I'm Jonathan Evans from ABHI, and I'm delighted to introduce this conversation as part of our ongoing focus on patient safety and the launch of our new report, ABHI Patient Safety System Foundations, a Call to Action. Today, we're delighted to be joined by Dr. Henrietta Hughes, who's the Patient Safety Commissioner for England, alongside ABHI Patient Safety Group Chair Greg Quinn and the Vice Chair of the group, Stephanie Russell. Greg, over to you.
Thanks, Jonathan. And Henrietta, it's great to have a conversation with you. You've been in post now, well, for 3 years or so. And looking back, we're really interested to know what progress you're most proud of in shaping the national patient safety agenda.
Well, thanks so much, Greg. And reflecting on the first term, I think the areas that I'm most proud of is where I was able to escalate patient voice directly into the heart of government and see changes happen as a result. So a really clear example of that is around Martha's Rule. So patients and families can request a rapid review if they're concerned that the patient has deteriorated. And this followed the tragic death of Martha Mills from sepsis when she was only 13 years old, and the determined campaigning by her mother so that patients should be able to pick up the phone and use Martha's Rule if they felt that they weren't being heard. I was privileged to lead the policy development and to chair the Martha's Rule Oversight Group for a year, and working collaboratively with Martha's parents and other patient groups, with NHS England, providers in the NHS and the independent sector, with regulators and with others. We developed the policy recommendations for Martha's Rule for the Secretary of State in just 18 days, and then the pilot and now the full rollout of Martha's Rule across England. Over 7,000 calls have been made, and around 3/4 of those do come from family members. 40% of calls have led to a change in treatment for the patient because of deterioration, and hundreds of lives have potentially been saved because patients have been escalated to intensive care, to interventional radiology, back to theatre, or to more sophisticated environments where they can have care. So I really see that this is a huge success where, because people are able to pick up the phone, everything changes as a result. But another area where, again, the views and voices of patients has really impacted is on valproate safety, with a change in the law on original packaging for medicines, strengthening of safety requirements for the most potent teratogens, and a really dramatic decline in the numbers of pregnancies exposed to this potentially harmful drug. It really shows the value of that partnership working with patients, families, with professionals, regulators, and also with patient safety leaders. And then finally, the publication of the patient safety principles, which sit above legislation, regulation, and policy. And these sit there as a reminder that we should always consider the patient's perspective when we're planning or delivering healthcare.
Thanks, Henrietta. That's so important, the partnership piece. And the Commissioner's role bridges patients, clinicians, regulators and industry. What have you learned about how these groups can collaborate more effectively to ensure safety by design?
Well, I think because patients bear the brunt of harm from healthcare, and nobody wants to see their patients come to harm, but the systems don't always support the delivery of safe healthcare. So getting the multiple perspectives really gives a full picture that can mean that we can get safety right there from the start and to identify what needs to be done differently and why. So my independent role really gives me the voice, the authority, and the independence to be able to broker some of these difficult relationships which have existed in the past between industry, between patient groups, between professionals and providers and regulators. But I think that one of the things that really helps is by having those conversations early, by understanding different perspectives, and then getting better products as a result.
Absolutely, Henrietta. And just taking that theme a bit further, our report really tried to highlight the role of health tech innovation in improving safety. So we're interested in your perspective on how we can make sure innovation and safety go hand in hand. And building on that, how would you advise industry? How would you advise health tech companies wanting to engage constructively with yourself and with the patient safety agenda to really move the bar higher?
Well, I think the National Commission into the Regulation of AI in Healthcare is an excellent case in point here. And we will shortly be going out for a call for evidence, and that's from everyone, from patients, from the public, from industry, from industry groups, as well as from professionals and others. Because by hearing multiple different perspectives, we're going to be able to create safer, faster, and more trusted products for the future. And that's not just for now, but that's for generations to come. So I would really encourage everyone to respond to that call for evidence. But I think the other thing I would say is that by through the MedTech team at the Department of Health and Care, we now have a patient engagement forum, and this is an excellent opportunity for understanding the needs of patients by meeting with a wide range of different patient groups. And I think there are other, opportunities for engaging with patients, either in clinical environments, in research, but also giving people the opportunity to give feedback about the products that people are using. So multiple different ways of having that engagement, and all of them equally valuable.
And finally, as we look ahead, what gives you confidence that we're embedding patient safety more deeply into the fabric of the healthcare system?
Well, the intractable problems, which I think were identified not only in the Cumberledge review, but in other reviews, I'm now starting to see things moving in the right direction. I'm impatient for change, so I'd love to see things happening quicker, but I'm very grateful to everyone who's worked so hard on making these changes happen. So my legislation is about promoting the safety of patients and the value of listening to patients. And I think the examples that I've given are starting to show to the professions, to industry, and to regulators that patients and the public are vital partners in their care. And that's about planning care, it's about delivering care, and particularly if something goes wrong. We need leadership, we need listening and partnership working. And these are key to avoiding the epistemic injustice which has existed over millennia, to really create a new culture and a new way of working where patients are seen as equal partners in their care. And that is going to reduce harm to patients in the future, and to secure a safer, a more equitable, and a more compassionate approach to healthcare.
Very and what a fantastic line to end on. Henrietta, thank you so much for joining us and for your continued leadership in championing patient safety. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today, and the ABHI Patient Safety Group very much looks forward to continuing this positive collaboration. So thank you.
Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing.